Hi friends, happy Wednesday. We're going to continue on with lesson 7 today because it's really cool to analyze these poems, right? How can we analyze poems? What do the poems show us? Like, how do we understand them better, right? So today we're going to analyze the street poem that Jack said he liked so much in the last lesson. And then you're going to be writing a poem about your street. I can't wait to find out all about them. So here we go. Our focus today is I can analyze a poem. Here's Street Music by Arnold Adolph. All right. This city, the always noise, grinding up from the subways underground, slamming from bus tires, and taxi horns and engines of cars and trucks in all. Vocabularies of class, flash, screeching, hot metal language combinations as planes overhead roar. An orchestra of rolling drums and battle blast assaulting my ears with the always noise of the city. Street music. Now, I think I made a couple of grammatical errors when I was creating this. So I believe that is vocabularies of class. But I'm going to go back in and look because remember, even I make mistakes when I'm trying to work quickly, right? So I'm going to go back to street music. And a lot of these poems are found in the back of the book. Now you don't have the back of the book because this book wasn't given to you guys. Let's see. Slamming the bus tires and taxi horns and engines of cars and trucks and all. Vocabularies of clash, flash, screeching. So that's clash right there. So language combinations as planes overhead roar. All right, so as I read this, I think I know what city this is, or what city I have in my head. Let's think about it again. There's a lot of noise in the city, so it's got to be a big city. What do you think the hot metal language is? I think of metal. What is metal that makes lots of sounds in a city? Well, there's cars and taxis and trucks and buses, right? Well, the subways underground, the planes overhead, right? So there's so many different metal language. And I like how he said it was hot metal language. And it says, vocabularies of clash, flash, screeching, hot metal language combinations. Think about that. He used the sounds of these automobiles or these trains, planes. He called them a language. There was a language that they were speaking, which is kind of interesting. An orchestra of rolling drums and battle blasts. If you've ever been to a big city and you can hear the subway underground, it kind of sounds like that rolling drums. It's kind of cool. Or the train going past. The battle blast, I'm thinking of the horns beeping on the street, right? They're assaulting his ears. Look at that verb that he used. He used the word assaulted. That means he doesn't like those sounds. Those sounds are not good. He's assaulted, meaning he was hit, right? Not good. With the always noise of the city, street music. Now, Jack based his street poem off of this one. But Jack's was a little bit different, right? He explained what he saw, right? And what he heard. But mainly he took the imagery for seeing. This one's mainly taking the imagery of hearing. And I think he's hearing much because he calls it street music. And since it's street music, it's all about the sounds that are going on in the street. Pretty cool, right? So, your job, after we analyze this one, is to write your own paragraph about your street. So let's look at this structure. The structure of street music was definitely irregular, right? It wasn't normal. And did you notice how I put spaces between the letters of some words and not others? Again, with poems, we can not obey the grammar rules, right? We can do it however we want because it's our poem. Notice when Jack wrote it, he said his words were thin and he made his letters really thin. So the structure of this, he has words, he has lines, and he has stanzas, but they don't have any pattern to them. It's spaced apart in different ways, and it's not really recognizable, right? He just kind of has it broken up however he chooses, which is totally fine. Onomatopoeia is a new word for us. Everybody say that, onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is words that imitate sounds, like crash, flash, boom, blast, kapow, right? If you think back to some of these comic strips, they have a lot of those onomatopoeia, the sounds that things make. I think of a plate breaking to the ground, it's a crash, right? So it's a sound, but it's imitated by a word. So hot metal language here, he's comparing the language, what he hears, to hot metal. Hot metal burns, so his ears are burning, right? Now, there's also metaphors in this story. A metaphor, or in his poem, a metaphor is when you compare something to another. It suggests one thing is the same as the other. We've talked about similes. Similes and metaphors are similar. The only difference between a simile and a metaphor is that similes uses like or as, like the bird was flying like an airplane. A metaphor is just saying the bird is an airplane, right? It's taking out that like or as. It's comparison, but it suggests one thing is the same as the other. The frog. Let me think. Give me a second. I got the bird is a plane, but now I'm thinking about a frog. I'll come back to you on my metaphor for a frog. Roared in the lake. Metaphor. It's the same thing as. Let me come back to that. Frog was a bad one. Anyway, so here he said planes overhead roar an orchestra of rolling drums. So the planes he's saying is the same as an orchestra of rolling drums. The frog could be an orchestra of drums as well, because they're like ribbit, 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 right? All right, there's my metaphor for the frog. Frog is a drum in the lake. All right. He compares the sounds of airplanes to drums of an orchestra. So he's saying that they are the same. The airplane is the drums and the orchestra, the rolling drums. All right, so we have a lot of things in this lesson, right? In this poem, a lot of new things, right? So we have onomatopoeia, where a word imitates a sound. And you could probably come up with some other ones, and you can let me know which ones you think you could think of. You can add it in your discussion when you write your poem. And a metaphor is when you compare two things. You're saying one thing is the same as the other. You're not using like or as in a simile. So a metaphor is just saying one thing is the same as another. Now, to your lesson today. Oh, that's tomorrow's lesson. Excuse me, we're going to do a picture. So your job today is to write a poem however you want, and I want to be able to see, hear, or feel your street. So I want you to go outside and look at it. What do you notice? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What do you see? What do you hear, right? So think about it. Today's job is just write a poem. I want to know what your street looks like. Is it small? Is it big? Are you in the middle of a cul-de-sac, like where it has that circle? Are you like me, where it's a city street, so it's lined by cars, right? My house, there's cars on both sides, right? And it's very geometric because we have blocks, right? So my street is lines and angles, right? So maybe I would go on that. I'll try and write my poem too for my street, and I'll put it in the discussion in the morning. All right, have fun with this. I can't wait to read your poem about your street. And tomorrow we get to write a shape poem. Have a great day.